Okay, Emma, that's enough photos of your car. Let's go for a drive, eh?
Sure. My turn?
Yeah.
All right.
Have you actually had this car for longer than you waited for it?
No.
You haven't you?
No.
So when was it, 18 months to wait for the car, and you've had it for less than that?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I've had it for a year, and we waited, almost 2 for it.
How long have you been off-roading and doing this sort of stuff?
I've been doing it for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So we got our D22 Navara, and we didn't buy it to go off-roading about 10 years ago now, but it kind of slowly sort of snowballed into doing little trips to Tiwa and Rainbow. And then before we knew it, we were doing bigger stuff. But if I go back further than that, like, when we were teenagers, we were doing trips to the state forest in the back of my friend's Hilux.
Ah, yes.
Not behind the wheel, but still driving.
So, good segue into what you actually do at KAON. So, let us know what your role is there. Yeah.
I do all our marketing, but it takes an army. So we have we're fortunate now that we have a small internal team, and we also have like an external team that we use as well. But I'd say, like, sort of broadly, that means helping to strategize and steer the brand ship and the product ship sometimes to a degree as well. It's funny because, like, a lot of people think, like, when they get to a brand, they want to, like, make their mark. But I think what you'd already created at KAON was really awesome, right? And it's just about uncovering and articulating what was already there, that kernel that was already established, and really trying to translate, okay, well, what are customers already passionate about with KAON? What are they already really resonating with? Like, what makes it great? Not trying to put your own stamp on it, but just bringing it out and drawing it out and communicating it.
So we've been talking a lot about outsiders recently. So for you, what does being an outsider mean?
Being an outsider is very much about that, like, dual meaning, which is why I really love the term. Being an outsider to the rest of, like, sort of what society views as the norm. Being really true to yourself. So not necessarily following the way that people do things, trying to do things a little bit differently, trying to look at things differently. That's part of it. And that, that touches all aspects of your life.
True.
Getting off-road, but also, like, the way in which we do business. And then the other part is obviously, like, resonating with being in outdoor spaces. Like, I love being outside. The more remote, the better.
So talking about community and community as an outsider, have you found this to be true for you?
For me, some of the closest friendships that I have today, people that we meet with on a regular basis, even just go out for dinner with, those all started from going out four-wheel driving and camping. I think when you travel as a group with people to some of these destinations, like, you're relying on one another. To get each other out of strife. You have to know that they've got your back if something goes wrong. You're also really removed from society, so they're your only, they're your only source of contact or only, conversation for weeks on end, and you can't help but build really strong relationships with people when you're getting off the beaten track.
What's the most memorable adventure you've had today, good and bad?
So the Cape I probably did about 6 years ago now, and that was an awesome adventure with a couple of other couples. It was our first big trip, much like it was for yourself and even for Tim. Yes. I think it's often a rite of passage, particularly for Queenslanders.
It's like a mecca.
Yeah.
It's a mecca for four-wheel drive.
Yeah, and it's the first one that you kind of think isn't too scary.
True.
So we did the Cape with a bunch of people. And that was memorable for many reasons, like not just the good things, but we got really bogged on the Frenchman's Track and flooded the bottom of our GU, which was not the best. But then I think the one that resonated with me the most and maybe changed me the most was the Simpson.
Oh yes, for sure.
I don't think anything beats, like, red dirt and dunes for 4 days. Just the remoteness,
sitting out there knowing that there's probably only a handful of people within a few hundred k's of you.
I think there's this sense, like, when you tell people, oh, okay, so it's 4 days, it's 900, it's like, I actually don't remember how many
900 dunes or
900 dunes, 400 and something kilometres. They're like, and you're going 15 to 20 kilometres an hour most, top speed. People are like, are you nuts? But I've never experienced anything like it.
What's next on your bucket list?
WA.
Wow. Us Queenslanders, us East Coasters want to get over to the west, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, we're really lucky because we can, we've managed to cover all the way from the tip of Cape York to the bottom of Tassie with just like a few weeks at a time off from work, right?
That's right. That's why it's hard.
Yeah, but WA is a much bigger trip, but it's the next horizon, I think.
As a female four-wheel driver, off-roader, how have you seen things change, or how do you see yourself?
This is a really good question, and it's a really complicated one. I'm really lucky in that the men in my life, professionally and personally, are all incredibly supportive, and the only boundaries that are perceived, I think, by my gender are in my own head. I don't think anyone else in my immediate circle places those on me, but I have definitely been subject to prejudice in other circumstances, like out in other places. A lot of it is just confidence, I think, a lot of the time. And I think once you have a certain sense of confidence, people can sense that, and they don't question you regardless of your gender. I think the thing that's really awesome to see is there are so many female four-wheel drive creators out there now, operating on their own or in couples, but really strong role models.
Any bits of advice for our fellow outsiders to get the most out of their adventures?
So I have two things that I think are like two core pieces of advice for people. The first is that you don't need everything you think you need.
Yes.
I think we're really guilty of thinking that we need all this gear just to get out. And I also think people are really susceptible to like being told, okay, well, you need this, this, and this before you can go anywhere. But I think what's really important is to know your vehicle and know the way you like to travel. And the second one is that you're more capable than you think you are. That there's so much content out there that's really sensationalized.
It is.
And a lot of those trips are really attainable.
Correct.
And I think just if you've got your basics, like you've got your comms, you've got a reliable vehicle, you've got fuel and water, most things, even in the middle of the desert, are within your reach. So I think, you don't need all the gear you need, and you're more capable than you think you are.
So if someone just come across KAON as a brand and an accessory brand, what product would you recommend to them?
The shelf.
I agree. The shelf is so handy, even if you're not four-wheel driving. It's just day to day. I'm not a word of a lie. Like, it's the first thing I put in this car. But, like, I think I got it off the lot, and within like a day, I had a shelf on it. And you can install it yourself, and it's easy. It doesn't take any room, and it gets everything up. Off the ground, yeah. You can get rid of that island in the back.
It's just so good. I think my second, if I can steal two, is that the gas bottle mount. Yeah. Because for me, that was such an annoying problem, like where you put it.
You don't want to put it inside. You want to put it on the top. Exactly.
Yeah. And you can still access it when it's there, and it's secure. Like, it's just such a good. It helps with the storage problems in such a small four-wheel drive, which is what technically this is quite small.
Thanks for the ride, Emma, and thanks for showing us your rig. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see ya.